It is Christmas time here in the homeless part of Broadway in Knoxville, Tennessee. What you are looking at is one of the many parking lots that seem to go on block after block after block down this unnamed road next to the Knoxville Area Rescue Mission. I featured this a couple months ago on Williams Street. I think it's the I-40 bridge, and there is just parking lot after parking lot after parking lot. After 4 years in Knoxville, the CARM's rescue mission over there on your right finally put up a sign saying, "This parking lot is reserved for staff and volunteers." You know, I'm not quite sure what the difference is between staff, volunteers, and the homeless in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's always been a wonder of mine in the 4 years that I've been in Knoxville. Actually, it's the same way I felt in every city that I went through during 7 years on the street. Across the street there, across Broadway, is Relaunch, what is called the Relaunch Day Center or Warming Center or Winter Shelter. I was very happy to hear that brothers and sisters, whether they're street characters or actually homeless, have that resource now to go to here in Knoxville. In the few times that I've tried the rescue mission there, it was just a disaster. You know, it's too institutional. It's too, you know, they got their neighbors that they value and that they like, and they get priorities and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, they can do without, you know, passes or IDs on freezing winter nights, and drugs are overlooked, you know, early in the morning if they decide to roll on in. Not a 60-plus-year-old senior that they do not know. So, and supposedly the Relaunch organization over there hopefully will correct that. That gives brothers and sisters a place to go that's not institutional and not sort of fixed in a sort of parochial clusterfuck way that, you know, the rescue mission in Knoxville and all around the country is, you know. So that's good. And it will come in handy. Winter is here in Knoxville, so temperatures are going to drop, and they have been. So it's nice to know that the Relaunch Center with bunks with cots and showers and a meal are available for those that don't want to, play their game or run the course or, run their route, with the neighbors, who somehow seem to have advanced reservations at the rescue mission on a given day or night in the motherland here. Shelter aside, I want to talk about transportation, because, in the time that I spent on the street, transportation was paramount, If I didn't like the way I was dealt at the rescue mission over there, I'd head for the hills, screw it. Give me a 40 and a nice pavilion up on Fort Dickerson Park and nobody around, and this old natty daddy is more than happy, But when you're homeless, genuinely homeless, transportation is very crucial because it can get you out of places, and it can take you places where you want to go instead of where you may be at any given time. Truly genuine homeless people know the value of transportation. I don't mean street characters that just go home to mom and dad in the morning. Although there is a little turnoff there, a little valet sort of circle up there in front of the chapel at the Knox Rescue Mission, where cars can turn in and get off the traffic of Broadway in the morning, outbound, and pick up, husband, wives, or children who spent the night in the shelter. To genuinely homeless men and women, transportation is not a joke. It's not a toy. It's not a piece of pizza to be bargained with. It can be crucial. And one of the changes that I've noticed here in Knoxville, in this area, has been this bike lane. You see this bike lane here? This bike lane here. Throughout my experience in the country, no matter whether it's winter or summer, I have seen genuine homeless men value and treasure the bikes that they have. And the reason they have those bikes and value and treasure those bikes so much is because they cannot rely on the public transportation wherever they're squatting at, wherever they're going through, whatever city they're in. I have yet to find a city in all the ones that I went through that had any sort of reliable, dependable public bus system and network. All were trash, all were unreliable, all were undependable. I did never buy a bike like other brothers and sisters that I knew along the way, because I had no intentions of living for any length of time in those cities. But I will tell you, those brothers swore by that bike because it was freedom for them, you know, especially in this car culture where everybody has a car, and if you don't have a car and you're homeless, all you have to do is jump into a car in a Walmart parking lot. And, you know, mommy, daddy, or the kids will drive you home, and not only will you have a car, you will also now have a house to live in, and you'll also have friends and family. So the bike is crucial, and of course Knoxville's buses have not been any better, or any worse for that matter, than the buses I've experienced around the country. And it's interesting in dealing with neighbors and buses around the country. No longer do I find, you know, women and children sleeping on bus benches, if there is a bus bench anywhere left in the country. But I could usually tell by the women and children who show up at a bus stop when a bus will come. Okay? Or if a bus will not show up. There have been times in this country where I've stood at a bus stop and, two buses will not show. And I'll be standing there for an hour by myself, waiting for this bus. But all of a sudden, some neighbor, some local, will show up at the bus stop, and no sooner will they show up at the bus stop than the old local bus will come rolling down the road like a mother or father ready to pick them up to take them home.